Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Wingate Solutions. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is just a quick range session, getting out here in the woods, doing a little carbine maintenance. So I figure I'd bring you guys along. All right, let's get into it. All right, guys, kind of like I said in my last video, I'm pretty busy right now with work. So as I have time, I want to bring you guys content. Today, I got a little bit of time. I want to come out in the woods, do a little training session. So I'm going to bring you guys along. I'm going to split this into 2 videos just so I can be a little more efficient, get you guys a little bit quicker content, and then have at least a second video in the queue, just so I can stay on top of getting you guys content, because it's easy for me just to kind of get behind and then not put something out for a few weeks. I'd rather have something in the queue. That way I have something staged or planned to at least release for you guys, for algorithm purposes and to keep you engaged with the channel, because I'd like to grow it over time. So instead of things getting in the way in life and me not getting you guys content, this way I can break up a training session into 2 videos. That's my plan anyway. So just want to be transparent with you guys. So for this video, I'm just going to work on some carbine work. I left the timer aside. I don't think I'm going to even use it today. It's just going to be a fun range session, focusing on manipulations. I'm not even stretching the distance out too much today. I got a few pieces of steel hung up on the hill, and I have an IPSC target in front of me, like 6-7 yards. Again, it's kind of off the cuff. I'm not trying to work on any like baselines today. I'm just getting some maintenance in. So I have that IPSC target. So I'm going for all A zone accountability, which is a pretty good size zone at this distance. But I don't even have the stimulus of the timer. It's just going to be off of my own, internal start and with a focus on manipulation. So today I'm going to be doing some reloads, tack mag exchanges, that sort of thing. I think it's important to work on those as regularly as you can. Dry fire is an easy way to work on a lot of these manipulations, but something that most guys can agree with that are in this industry is that it's very easy to shoot these things. Rifles are easy. Like, they do most of the work for you. It's the manipulations and really having a good baseline of understanding and the actual controls of the rifle. That's where a lot of people are lacking. So it's important to work on those manipulations. You can do that in low round counts. Like today I have 50 rounds of rifle on me. So that's what we're working with. That's a lot of rounds. I mean, you can do this with way less. You can do this for free, dry fire, and get 90% of the way there, with the exception of like recoil management and actually feeling the rifle like lock back on an open bolt for reloads, that sort of thing. So obviously testing yourself on the range after doing a lot of dry fire is kind of the cheap and efficient way to do it. And then make sure your range days are actually efficient and you're working on it and you're not just blasting, countless amounts of ammo without a purpose. Obviously, recoil management, follow-up shots, tracking your sight, and understanding how much confirmation you need with the sights and the target. That comes with shooting a little more regularly. But the manipulations, you don't need to shoot an entire rifle magazine of ammo to get 1 reload in. So that's a lot of guys kind of forget that, or they over focus on the fact that we load around our mags to a lower amount. That's because we're trying to get efficient reps in, right? Anyway, I'll get to shoot in a second, but I'm just going to do some simple drills right now. I'm probably going to start with a build drill because I'm cold. I'm not putting it on the timer, so I don't really get a baseline out of it, but I just want to do 6 rounds. Again, I'm real close, so it's not a hard shot string at all, but it's just for me to get kind of warmed up, recoil management, that sort of thing. And after that, I'm probably going to do some reload style drills. So anyway, I'm gonna throw my ears on. Let's get into it. Hopefully that's a decent angle for you guys. If not, I'll change it up. All right. And cool. All right. I'm gonna do the first one at a 45 degrees, so a low ready. And then I'll probably do one at a high ready, just to get a little bit of a warm up in. All right. And like I said, there's going to be no stimulus, no beep, just me going. It's not really, the point of it isn't for me to really measure anything. It's just for me to have a little bit of fun today. Cool. And I'll show you guys target if we need. They're all A zone on there. Good to go. I'm real close. So really I just got to see my sight in the center and start pressing the trigger. But let's do the same thing. I'm going to do it with a little bit of a low ready. So rifle is disconnected from the shoulder. It's under the armpit. Where you have it exactly oriented, that's going to be dependent on what you're doing in the moment. For right now, I just want the rifle stock out of my shoulder, under my armpit. And that way I have to present, engage the shoulder with my stock, and go to work from there. So that's what we're going to do. Cool. Yeah, I have some full mags on me. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is actually grab an empty mag, and we'll do some reloads. And by the way, this is just my 14.5, kind of my work gun, and it's just simple. Still has a chemo flash hider on it, even though I've switched all my other guns to Plan B by Reardon. And I have a bunch of Wolfpack Armory devices as well, because I run the hub mount on my suppressors and I run Plan B style muzzle devices. It's the way to go if you're getting into cans. I like it. It's an awesome system. Nothing wrong with these. I've never had an issue with it. Other people have. It is a good system, but I've moved away from it. So this one's still pin and welded. It's on my list of things to do is crack that pin and weld and re-weld on a Reardon, either I think it's the R2, which is the longer version, or I'm hoping that Wolfpack Armory is going to come out with an extended version, just because it's hard to find anything in stock nowadays that allows me to pin and weld that style on the front of this. But that's my game plan with this rifle. Just a simple gun. It's got a ballistic advantage Hansen barrel in it. Runs really well. This one's a tack driver. It's got a primary arm Cyclops 1X prism on it and a LaRue MBT trigger. Just a good simple gun. I like it. Anyway, so I just did a quick kind of pseudo tack mag exchange with an empty mag. So now I got one round in the gun. Obviously, I know the reload is coming. Nothing wrong with that. We're just working on manipulations today. I'm not putting myself through like a stress shoot or putting myself through any type of drills where I'm not knowing when the reloads are coming. That's awesome to do. Make sure you're doing that sort of thing. But for today, I'm just working on the manipulation. So I'm going to shoot that one round. It's obviously going to lock to the rear as long as my gun functions properly. And then I'm going to reload and I'm going to fire. Let's do two. So it'll be one and then two. I'm only at like 5-6 yards. Again, it's training. I typically would teach people to transition to the handgun in real life, and some people could debate that I'm making a training scar by doing this up close, and I should be getting the reps in where I just transition each time at this distance. And they're not wrong in that mentality. I teach that a lot. For me today, I'm consciously working on a skill set. I don't think it's a big deal to be doing reloads this close. And real life, like I absolutely might decide to reload the gun depending on the situation, even at a close distance. It kind of depends. But you wouldn't be wrong in having somebody that taught you to transition every time you're close like this. This is just something I'm working on today. So anyway, I don't want to confuse you guys. One reload, two is what I'm doing. All right, cool. So you guys see, I manipulate the safety. Again, it's something that's ingrained in me. It's a subconscious habit, and I think it's a good one. It's debated nowadays whether you need to hit it on safe when you're doing malfunctions or reloads specifically at this distance. I don't think it's a bad thing. A lot of guys in the industry teach, put it on safe. It really doesn't take any extra time. And I tend to believe that. That's what I teach. So just so you guys know, but there are different schools of thought on that. So I'm going to pick this guy up. Here's my empty one. I'm just going to, in my workspace, do a tactical mag exchange. Again, this is a conscious thing. I'm not going to create a bad habit and put unloaded mags into my gun in real life. Guys, again, get kind of lost in the weeds on that sort of thing. Anyway, one round and then two rounds. I'm going to start at this compressed under the armpit ready position for this one. Cool. That felt pretty good. Another thing, because it's a video where I'm getting some training in, but I figured I'd bring you guys some context and information as we're going as well. Some of you guys see those last two shots. I shoot, and then there is a slight pause before I hit that safety. Some guys get the bad habit of, especially when it's a drill, that they know exactly what the round count is. As soon as they're done firing, that rifle or handgun gets snatched back off sight picture, and they're either on safe already or they're already like going back to their holster if it's a pistol. Try not to do that. Make sure you're at least consciously checking your work through your sights for real world purposes. Obviously, it's different if I'm transitioning from like target to target. I'm not going to spend extra time checking my work. If I was confident in my shots, that's a different talking point for another day, because a lot of people spend too much time with follow through as well. You don't need to spend any more time than is needed when it comes to actually running the gun. It's more of a situational thing of checking my work through my sights for real world purposes. But people confuse that a little bit. Follow through is great when you need to follow through, but in reality, the bullet's already way out of your gun. You following through isn't going to like disrupt the sights any less. That happened instantaneously, right? So anyway, let's do this again. Pick this thing up. All right. All right, let's do same thing, 1 and 2. I think I was doing 2 after my shot. Maybe I was doing 3. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to start from that low ready this time. Cool. That time I got a little bit of a fumble on my reload there, but that's okay. And I will try to spend a little more time on my sight this time just to show you guys what I mean, just so you're not confused, because I am technically not spending all day checking my work. So I don't want, again, guys to be confused. We'll start in that low position again. Now, one bad habit I recognize there, and it's just for me because I am learning, I am training right now. So it's good to be able to diagnose your own potential problems or things you're just doing that maybe aren't setting you up for success. I pinned my trigger to the rear after those 2 shots. That's a bad habit, something I want to try to focus on not doing, especially if this was a realistic engagement. I want to be ready to fire the next shot. Now, obviously, the rifle, it's easy. You just go to reset quick and you can bang away again. But pinning the trigger to the rear can be a bad habit that a lot of guys do, including myself. Like I just noticed I did it. So anyway, I'm gonna do that same thing. I'm gonna try not to do that this time. Cool. And we can get lost in the weeds of whether or not it's good to be getting that finger quick off the trigger or not. Again, it's all context driven. Depends what you're doing. I'd rather err on the side of safety, specifically in training and real world too, because I don't want to shoot somebody that doesn't deserve to be shot. But it's definitely something to talk about, is how long do we leave that finger on the trigger after we're done firing. Some people might say it's 100% appropriate to pin to the rear while you're addressing that threat, like for a moment, right? I'm not going to be like giving commands to somebody while my finger's still on the trigger. That's just a recipe for disaster. But if I'm still consciously checking my work through my sights, having that finger in there ready to fire other follow-up shots, maybe not the end of the world, right? I also don't want to flick my finger off the trigger too fast when more work needs to be done. So just something to think about. There's different ways to think, to look at that, and there's no like 100% right answer there, in my opinion. All right, let's do that again. 1 and 2. And all right, cool. So that time I actually missed my safety on the reload, and that's a good talking point. Is a lot of people over focus on the safety as far as they think it's going to get you killed in the streets running the safety. In my opinion, I'm going to attempt to put the safety on, and I want that to be ingrained in me. But if my finger misses it or it doesn't go on, I'm not going to spend any extra unneeded time trying to manipulate the safety. That comes into play when we do malfunctions, because as some of you guys know, certain malfunctions are not going to allow you to put the safety back on. So that time I just slipped. I missed it. I got a little nick on my thumb here from running a chainsaw the last few days. Not from cutting myself on the chainsaw, just from it rubbing up against my hand. So it wore a little bit of skin off, and now I'm bleeding a little on my gun. Not the reason why I missed the safety. I just noticed that. But anyway, the point is, if you train enough and you don't skip a beat, that's what we want. We don't want something to be a hindrance or all of a sudden throw your OODA loop off just because something's a little bit like not the way you planned, right? All right, anyway, I think I swapped that. I'm going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to start with that 1 round on cardboard right in front of me, drilling that center mass. I'm going to do my reload, take a few steps to the left here so I can see it because there's a tree kind of blocking, and I'm going to shoot 2 rounds into the C-zone steel that's about 25 yards away. So that'll be kind of fun. Hopefully it comes up pretty good on the audio for you guys. So 1, take a few steps as I reload, and then 2 on to steel. Cool, that felt pretty good. Set up and do that again. All right, we'll do high ready this time. Oh. All right, ooh, look at that. I got 1 round in there. Unfortunately, I saw that, so I don't get to have a surprise reload for this rep. But that's okay. I do this enough that it's not that big of a deal. This time, I am going to shoot 1 into the cardboard, still move, do those 2 shots, which obviously I'm going to have a little bit of something to do to get the second shot up because I have second mag on me. And then I'm going to fire 2 shots at the reduced C-zone steel. That's like 15 yards to the right of the other target. So it should be kind of fun. A little bit of moving parts on this one. All right, let's do it. Cool. All right. So that's about 25-ish, a few more rounds out of my 50, because I think I split those between 2 mags. So as you guys can see, we're already getting a decent training session in, even though I'm only working on a few things, but I'm kind of working on a bunch at the same time. Take these off for a second so I can talk to you guys a little better. Well, yeah, real quick, we'll look at target. Hopefully you can see, and I don't screw this up too bad. And I'm only shooting from a few feet away, like I said. Like I said, 6-7 yards. But right here, in a perfect world, I'd be up here higher center mass. Upper half of the A zone is where I like to be. Honestly, I'm just putting the dot. Well, honestly, I'm putting it right here, and I'm not really accounting for offset. So we'll get into that in another day. This is still 100% effective. I have a nice group here for what it is. Like I said, it's pretty close. I'd prefer to have them stacked here, which would probably involve me having my dot, or my reticle rather, about right here, dropping them here. But that's okay. It's just something I wasn't focused on today, is exactly where I'm placing it. Because we talk about acceptable sight picture a lot. That's another thing I'll get into in some other videos, is if this is my acceptable area, my acceptable hit area, well, then anywhere in there is good. We like to parlor trick shoot. Specifically, if you guys go to classes, I see a lot of guys that are still in that mindset of impressing the instructor by having a super tight, tiny little group. They're not getting anything out of the drills other than marksmanship at that point, which is great if that's what you're working on. If you can't do that, and you can't hold yourself to a standard of really fine-tuning accuracy, then you need to be able to do that. But for getting the most out of a lot of the drills, like realistic drills, practical drills, we want to use an acceptable area and then hold ourselves within that, but allow for a little bit of error, which obviously this isn't error, but we don't need to be stacked on the same hole, if that makes sense to you guys. So anyway, hopefully you're getting something out of that. Let's move on. I don't want this video to be too long, and I'm already kind of getting up there in time. So I got like 25-ish, maybe between 20 and 25 more rounds. I'm going to do something a little different now. Let's see. Off the cuff, we'll come up with it. I am going to start right here. I'm going to shoot 3 rounds. And then I'm going to move back. Actually, I have a bunch of cones here. I forget exactly what distance they're at. Hopefully you guys can kind of see. I'll change the camera so you can in a second. But I'm basically going to go to each cone, shoot 3 rounds. I think it brings me back to 25 or 30 yards from the cardboard. So that'll just be a fun little run and gun. We'll do that. I'm going to set this thing up right behind the target. Hopefully you guys can then see the holes as I'm shooting them. And hopefully I don't end up doing something real stupid like shoot my camera, because this happens to be my phone. That would suck. I trust myself just enough. So let's see. I think that'll work. I'm good with that. As long as I don't shoot my camera, I can shoot the tripod. All right, let's get after it. So here, hopefully you guys can hear me. I guess you can because I have a mic on. Again, I'm working on safety manipulation. Real world, if I'm moving from position to position or like this, even if it's backwards, doesn't matter. I'm moving offline or off of a target area, and it's not like I'm shooting multiple targets right near each other. My safety is going to be on for that sort of thing. I know that's another thing that guys kind of have debate on. I'm absolutely going to say safety's on when we're moving, because things happen in real life. There's a lot more going on than we think in our brain is going to happen, and things are dynamic. I absolutely want to hold myself to the standard of running the safety subconsciously. So it's going to be 3 rounds. Safety goes on. I turn and burn to the next cone, reorient myself, PID my target, which is the only cardboard on the hill, but still it's important. I turn, I shoot 3 rounds, and so on and so forth till I'm done with the last cone. And then I'll come back and we'll see if I have any rounds left. All right, let's do it. And I'll try not to trip and fall because this is kind of rocky terrain. Oh, I'm out. So there's a little bit of a training scar. I absolutely should have just went to my handgun because I had it in my brain that I wanted to do this video just rifle for you guys. I set myself up for failure there, but that's okay. I thought I had more ammo than that. Hits are all good, so I'm good with that. But yeah, technically, I should have, without a beat, switched to my handgun. That's just reality of training, and it shows something that I need to work on, so I'm all about it. All right, guys, I know that's kind of a quick off-the-cuff training session. Hopefully you got something out of it. That was fun for me. Got a little bit of work in. It was kind of just fun just to kind of blast some rounds, work on some manipulations, just have a good time without, like, I don't want to say the stress of running the timer, but it's easy to turn this into just a job and forget to have a little bit of fun doing it. Specifically when you start holding yourself to the standards on a timer, and if you get like into ever filming yourself for content. And I end up doing most of my shooting in front of you guys, you know, for the most part, unless I'm teaching or something like that, or doing it for work. So there's always this, like, I don't want to say stress involved. That's kind of the wrong word, but like self-induced performance stress. I guess you could say performance anxiety, but that's not really what I'm feeling either. It's just more of I'm doing it for a purpose that's not as fun when it's constantly on the timer or in front of you guys, which I do enjoy doing it. But it's just nice kind of just kick back and have a little bit of a shooting session that's working on a particular skill set. And again, being able to teach you guys something. So hopefully you got something out of it. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoy my content, consider hitting up the website, wingatesolutionsllc.com. Make 2-point minimalist rifle slings, make sling retention straps, holster leg straps, some other cool things coming down the pipeline. And I appreciate you checking that out. We have an Instagram. It's at Wingate Solutions. So head on over there if you have an Instagram. I put stuff up there every once in a while. Kind of cool content, kind of small Instagram. So it is what it is. I don't really do too much over there, and there's obviously a lot of shadow banning involved with that, so it doesn't get much growth. So I figured I usually get a little bit of growth on there when I plug that in these videos for you. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment down below, all that cool stuff. Share with your buddies. Let me know any feedback you guys have for me. Until next time, guys, get out and train.